You ever wonder what it feels like to be abandoned by the one person who promised to stand by you, only for them to come crawling back nearly 2 decades later? Not out of love, not out of guilt, but because they've got no one left. That's the story I'm about to tell you. It's a story of betrayal, survival, and karma coming back around in the most unexpected way. Back in 2004, my marriage ended. I was 44, and I had 2 children I adored more than anything. My daughter, just a little girl with big, curious eyes, and my son, young but already carrying the kind of heart that would one day make me so proud. Their father and I divorced, and it wasn't pretty. Divorce rarely is, but this one was war. I wasn't asking for anything unfair, just the standard arrangement. Shared custody, with me as the primary parent, and child support determined by the court. But instead of stepping up to be a father, he forged documents. That's right, he actually falsified paperwork, and when I caught him, instead of shame or apology, he lashed out. And that's when the real damage began. He started feeding poison into our children's ears, whispering things that a child should never have to hear, telling them that I didn't really love them, that the only reason I wanted them with me was to get money out of him. Imagine being a mother, holding your babies at night, brushing their hair, kissing them goodnight, only to know that their own father was trying to convince them their mother's love wasn't real. That's the kind of cruelty that cuts deeper than any courtroom fight, and yet, I never stopped. I never wavered in loving them. I kept food on the table, clothes on their backs, and love in their hearts, even when his bitterness made everything harder. For a while, he still saw them regularly, but money? He avoided responsibility like it was a plague. And when he met his new wife in 2006, things got even worse. Suddenly, visits became rare, payments even rarer, and every court battle felt like dragging a man who never wanted to be a father into facing the consequences. The judge threatened him with jail more than once, but even that didn't change who he was at his core. Then came 2008. A day I'll never forget. My kids had gone on one of their visits. They were fishing, something simple, something normal. And in that moment, my little girl, just 6 years old, noticed something. She noticed that his new wife was upset, and in the way only a child can, she said out loud, "She's upset because you're paying attention to me instead of her." That one innocent comment, that truth, spoken without filter, shattered whatever fragile bond was left. From that day forward, my kids lost their father. Not because of me, not because of custody papers, but because he chose a woman's jealousy over his children's love. The years that followed were bitter. He didn't just fade quietly, he fought me, dragged me into court again and again, not for his children, but for money. And then, when the pressure mounted, when the walls of his lies started closing in, he came to me with the most heartbreaking proposition. He said, "Take me out of custody if it means I don't have to pay child support." Imagine hearing that from the father of your children. Imagine a man so eager to run from responsibility that he would rather erase himself from their lives completely. And then, as if to add salt to the wound, he asked, "When are you planning to get married so your new husband can adopt them?" There was no new husband. It was just me. Just a mother doing her best. But at that moment, I realized my children deserved peace more than they deserved a father who would only hurt them. So I said yes. From then on, I raised them on my own. And they thrived. My daughter grew into a strong, independent woman, living in another state, holding her own even with her partner deployed. My son is about to graduate from basic military training, and I couldn't be prouder. Through all the sleepless nights, the scraped knees, the late bills, and the endless worries, I raised them. And I never once spoke badly about their father. When they asked why he didn't want them, I told them simply, sometimes adults make bad choices. This was one of his. One day, he'll regret it, because you are amazing. And then, 17 years later, karma came knocking. Out of nowhere, in July of 2025, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It said, "I know I'm the last person to text. If it is you, then you will get this message to K&C. Grandma Kim and Maureen passed away last year, and Crystal, my wife, passed away from cancer last night." That was it. 17 years of silence, and this was the message. Not "I'm sorry," not "I miss my kids," just a laundry list of who he'd lost. And I realized he wasn't reaching out because of love. He was reaching out because he was alone. My daughter wasn't impressed. And when he reached out to her directly on Facebook, it became clear that nothing about him had changed. He begged her to let him back into her life, but instead of honesty, he used lies. He claimed he'd sent her birthday and Christmas gifts, which never happened. He claimed I had poisoned her against him, that I cared more about money than family. And my daughter, bless her, didn't hold back. She told him exactly what he was: a liar, a deadbeat, a man who forfeited the right to call himself a father. And then, she blocked him. But he didn't stop there. He created another account just to harass her again. Still manipulative. Still selfish. Still the same man he always was. But here's where the revenge comes in. Because sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't screaming in someone's face or dragging them back into court. Sometimes, it's silence. It's living well. It's raising two incredible children who don't need him, who know their worth, and who can look him in the eye after 17 years and say, "No, you don't get to hurt us again." And that's exactly what happened. His revenge was handed to him by life itself. He lost his family, his wife, his children, and the respect he might have had if he'd been a better man. And now, when he finally came crawling back, desperate and alone, my kids stood tall, strong, and unshakable, and they shut the door in his face. Karma doesn't always roar like thunder. Sometimes, it comes quietly, in the shape of two grown kids who are everything he isn't: responsible, loving, strong. And now, he has to live with the silence he created. That's justice. That's revenge. And in the end, that's the life he chose.